All right, y'all. Welcome to the foil. This is Danny Cohen. I appreciate you guys following along with me as we head out east for a 4 game swing where hockey is just rougher, it's grittier, it's nasty. This is the birthplace of the old school NHL where the original six was, and they have kept some of that culture. And so, if you're looking to see some fights like yours truly, the next 4 games is probably a good bet to see a little bit of that. And we're going to talk about the Senators game and some fights and some other good stuff. But before we get into it, do me a favor, comment, subscribe, like, share this, text it, post it on social media. Do whatever you can to help me get the word out there. I appreciate all y'all foilists. All right, so the Senators are a rough and tumble team, like a lot of the teams out east. 5 of the top 6 penalized teams are from the east. The Senators are without Brady Tkachuk, who's been out with thumb surgery. Unfortunately, I love seeing Brady Tkachuk, even if he's in another jersey. They have had 4 fights from 4 different players on the year, even without Brady Tkachuk, who had 6 fights on his own last year. And so there's a good chance that we might see a little bit of that this year. I'd like to see, and I think it would behoove some of our bubble forwards, especially some of the ones that were brought in to be rough and tumble, like Bastian and Ernie, for instance, to drop the gloves. We've got players coming back here soon with Duchesne and Jamie Benn on the mend, and so if they don't think that don't need to literally fight for their spots, they are kidding themselves. So hopefully we get to see a little bit of fisticuffs action. Speaking of which, there was a doozy of a fight the other last night with Olivier, who's one of my favorite in the league, and Trent Frederick, who is one of the players that I was hoping maybe we'd pick up, actually him or Olivier, before the deadline last year. We still need a heavyweight menace like one of those guys. We don't really have that. Please, Jim Nill, please bring us one for Christmas or draft one. Actually, I'd like one for Christmas so that we can have one this year. I'm more of an instant gratification kind of guy. But anyway, this fight, Olivier is one of the best in the league at this skill, and he just beat the brakes off of Frederick. He was bleeding a little bit after the fight, just hammering away at the guy. And Frederick is no slouch either. That's a mean big old boy. But Olivier does what he does. So this is an opportunity for some of our lower liners to earn their keep. We've got players that are jockeying for those last couple positions, and I'd like to see some more. Fights aside, I'd like to see some more out of Ernie. I'd like to see what Oscar Beck can do. He's looked pretty good here as well, and see how it. I'm interested to see how it all shakes out because at least 2 of those guys are coming out. So Ernie has 0.23 points per game in his last 98 games as an NHLer, and Oscar Beck had 0.23, exact same numbers, points per game in 79 games. So Oscar Beck is has that penalty kill skill set that he brings. Ernie has the more physical presence that he brings. This is an interesting battle to see who comes out first. I think one of those 2 is going to come out first, though Bastian's been sitting in the press box for a couple games, and he's been a little bit disappointing as far as what you thought that he would bring in the physicality department. So, maybe they waive somebody like Bastian and put him in the minors as well. That is another option that they have out there. The Senators come into this game on a 5-game point streak. They're 3-0-2 in their last 5. Dallas now has wins in 2 in a row. We have points in 9 of our last 10 games, and even though some of those points and wins are unconvincing with all these 1-goal games that we're winning by, we are getting it done, and we look to continue that tonight. The Senators have Stutzel and Batherson that are both point-a-game players. They're scoring by committee. They're putting up some great offensive numbers, which I'll talk a little bit about here in a minute. But before we do that, a little hat tip to Razor Ray, who is an oratorical hero of our hockey locality here. He was honored by the Hall of Fame in Toronto as the Foster Hewitt Memorial Award winner for his broadcasting work that he's done over the long haul here. Just an amazing talent that Razor is. I've loved watching him for years, and he is absolutely irreplaceable. The Stars, their injuries are as follows. Matt Duchene is still out with his concussion. He is not traveling with the team. Jamie Benn, whose jersey I am sporting here, is on the plane. He is going to be at least watching these games and hanging out with the team. Maybe he'll make a surprise appearance. We could really use him back out there. And Nils Lundqvist is still on IR. So the Ottawa Senators are only dealing with the one injury to Tkachuk, although that is a doozy for them. So we've shown some improvement here that I'd like to point out. In the last 3 games, we have never been trailing after the first period, which throughout the whole season has been a sticking point of weakness for the Stars. The Stars have some hot players right now. Miro Heiskanen has something like 8 points in his last 4 games, 1 goal and 7 assists, I think is what he's at. Just night in, night out right now, tearing up the score sheet. Wyatt Johnston is just in the best form that we've ever seen him. He's on pace for 50 goals. He's one of the tops in the league on the power play. He's scoring beauties, just an amazing talent. Mikko Rantanen also hot. He's been hot all year. He leads the team in scoring. He's also tops in the league, last I checked, in terms of his power play production. And then DeSmith is coming off a monster of a game that without him, we don't win that game the other night against Seattle. Cold players. Let's talk about that a little bit. Thomas Harley has had a rough, probably half dozen games or so on both ends of the ice. He's not producing offensively. He is making defensive mistakes. And I don't know if the money's gone to his head. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he's fighting through injury. But that is something that needs to change for this team to keep doing what they're doing and racking up points. Ottinger's coming off of a few rough games. I don't know who's going to get the start tonight between DeSmith and Otter. If it was me, I would ride the hot goalie in DeSmith and let Otter take care of his baby for the time being until DeSmith starts to falter. I think Otter's obviously the go-to guy moving forward in the playoffs, but let DeSmith roll with it and don't be afraid to pull a goalie either. None of our coaches in recent history outside of Pete DeBoer in that one doozy of a goalie pull, which I agreed with, but I didn't agree with the actions that he took after on Ottinger, that we just haven't had a whole lot of goalie pulls. I think that you play DeSmith, and if he falters, even early in the game, you put Ottinger in there. But that's just me. The other cold player is Bastian, who I don't know if he's even going to play tonight, but he's been in the press box for the last several games. Hasn't done much since the early goings of the season, and I'm expecting when he comes back to see a little more of the rough stuff from him, because he's definitely got his jersey on because some of that which he brings to the team. So the Ottawa Senators have the number 7 offense in the league, scoring by committee at 3.4 goals for per games played. They don't have the guys that are tearing up the stats like the Stars do, but they've got depth scoring right now more so than the Stars at forward. The Dallas Stars have the number 20 offense at 2.9 goals for per game. You're going to see that get over and into the threes once we get Duchesne and Bin back, but it is what it is for now. The Ottawa defense is in the basement of the league at 3.6 goals against per game played. I'm surprised that they're in the top 10 of the league right now in the standings, given that their defense is as poor as it is. Dallas's number 15 defense at 3.1 goals against per game played. So we're slowly creeping up, right? We were in the basement and we're getting better and better, even without Nils Lundqvist. So I don't know if it's them just getting used to the new system, but we're getting back to at least respectability in that department. And Dallas has the number 2 power play in the whole league at 32.8%, only bested by Pittsburgh, who is 3 percentage points better, which doesn't sound a whole lot, but that is 10% better at 35.7%. Just incredible. So Ottawa has a great power play themselves, not as good as ours, but they're 8th ranked at 24.1%, and Dallas has the number 26th penalty kill at 72.6%. And the Ottawa Senators are even worse than us in this department. And this is why I'm scratching my head as to why they're doing as well as they are in terms of their wins and losses. They have the worst penalty kill in the league at 67.4%. So that's an area where we can absolutely take it to them. I'd love to see us get a couple power plays early in this game and hold on to a lead and just pants this team. Let's get them and then drop the gloves a couple times. Let's do that. It's been over a dozen games since we've seen a fight. I'd like to see some fighting. Chicago is chasing us in the standings right now with 3 wins in a row. Would you believe that? I mean, this is a team that's been a lottery pick team for several years and finished very lowly in the standings last year, but they're right in the hotness of Connor Bedard right now. He's one of the leading scorers in the league. So we need to win this game to keep them at bay. The Avs, who are ahead of us by 4 points in the standings, also play tonight, and the Jets play as well. I think the Avs play Anaheim, which should be a banger of a game. So we've got some teams that we need to hold off and to catch up to with a win tonight. Hopefully we come back with some good news in the post game for you. Thank you all for watching, and y'all have a great day.